G'day YouTube, Medusa29 back with you again, and welcome to the team building video for the first week, guys, of the official knockout constitution, otherwise known as the OKOC. As you know, I am the coach of the Tampa Bay Frogadiers. If you haven't seen it already, I've done the draft. I'll probably drop the link in the description for you guys to suss out my team. But basically, our first round opponent is going to be Sam of the Miami Mudkips, otherwise known as the Mudkipian Emperor. Now, he and I have become pretty good mates through this whole tournament and everything, and he really wants to prove himself. This is kind of like a proving match, like, my finger. He already knows, like, about my prowess as a battler. It's not really prowess, he knows that I've got experience and success in this format, whereas he's still a bit new to the format, so he feels like he has a lot to prove this week. And I mean, I feel like I've got a lot to prove as well. There's a lot of Pokepals that aren't in this league. Actually, now that I think about it, there aren't any, except for Adam. Adam are the only ones, and he isn't, like, there's no Jack, none of those guys. And so we're kind of, it's kind of, the first week is all about proving yourself and standing out from the rest of the competition. And to do that, you've really got to show how creative you can be in how you build your teams and how your teams are going to go in battles. And as you guys know, I can be pretty creative. You're talking to a guy who was running Acid Spray, Hidden Power Bug, Tentacruel, and this is a guy who ran Hooper Unbound to check it. So I decided to be really creative this season, and especially for the first match, I felt that I had a few really good sets that could break down his team. Now, upon building this team, I was under the premise that he still had Durant. Unfortunately, what's happened is that he decided to redraft Durant before the start of the season. We're all allowed one redraft. He decided to pick up Druddigon. Now, looking back at this team now, it is slightly Druddigon weak. But if it is defensive Druddigon, I'm not too worried, because I can still break it down with a lot of my attackers. And if it is the sheer false offensive, I'm gonna have to hope my team can put in that work to stop it. But anyway, let's crack into this team. If you guys are excited for this one, big old thumbs up, give me 5 likes, it'll be fantastic. And we're just going to break into the team. So basically, I'm just going to quickly pull up his team. You see right there. I could explain every member to you right now, but honestly, you can see the whole team there, so I can just break down the reasons why I chose every Pokemon. Stands to reason, doesn't it? So, the first Pokemon I decided to pick up this week is my Clefable. Now, the reason I wanted to bring Clefable is because at the time he had 2 Steel types. But then again, they were both Steel types that I could easily break down with my team. And if they weren't there, Clefable destroys his team. Without the Steel types, he has no effective switch into this thing, and I can definitely take advantage of that. But I realized that the Steel types could still come in and cause issues, so the easiest solution was to run Babiri Berry this week. Now, Babiri Berry, if you didn't know, it decreases the power of a Steel move by 50%, which basically means that a Banded Adamant Durant's Hustle boosted as well, because I'm pretty sure it increased the attack. Iron Head was not killing Clefable thanks to that Babiri Berry. And Clefable has enough speed to then, has enough special attack, just on general, to OKO both Scizor and Durant. The big kicker is that after a Calm Mind boost, Clefable can kill specially defensive Scizor. So, the reason why that's important as well is because you'll see there's 48 speed in my Clefable this week, and that is because Scizor at its base speed is at 166. So if he has 4 EVs left over, he chunks them into speed maybe. He goes to 167. So with speed creeping just a little bit, because I knew I didn't really need max HP, I could have maybe chucked it into split death, but I felt that I didn't really need to take the unnecessary hit, and it also lets me get a bit more speed against other things. But basically, the premise of this Clefable is that I can effectively set up a Calm Mind against a lot of his team. Sizzle comes in on that Calm Mind, I blow back with Flamethrower, and it's out of the way, and then his entire team kind of gets torn apart. With the Magic Guard, it means that I won't lose to Toxic Storm or Gliscor, and I can beat that thing one-on-one with the combination of Moonblast and Flamethrower, because after a Calm Mind boost, I believe Flamethrower does enough to break a Gliscor sub, so he can't effectively stall me. I do have options though in case Gliscor does try to stall me out, so we'll see what he does with that. The reason why I wanted Magic Guard over Unaware this week is because I felt that he wouldn't really have any like Swords Dance or sweepers that I was too generally worried about. I felt that my team covered them pretty well, and so I wasn't too worried about them. But I feel like Clefable is going to put in a lot of work this week. Effectively, it is able to set up and just sweep my opponent's entire team. And that's going to be the game plan, is to bait in the Scizor, to outspeed it, to get that flamethrower off, or if he does outspeed me, for me to eat up his attack because I have that Babiri Berry. And the main reason for this is because Clefable can then take on Banded Scizor, which is obviously a terrifying prospect, but could be a very realistic one, and so that would be really important for Clefable to do. Also, Clefable kind of acts as a secondary physical wall. It obviously has a Babiri Berry gimmick, but I don't want to use it as my primary switcher to Conkeldurr early game. I want to try and use the Babiri Berry gimmick early on to catch the Scizor and get rid of it, and then Clefable becomes my primary switching to Conkeldurr. For that, I need to probably just use Golbat or my Lantern, because it is a safer bet in the early going. Moving on, we have Lilith dropping into the team. Defensive Golbat is fantastic for my team. It is another check to Scizor, obviously, and can scare it with the fact that it has Heat Wave. I chucked Brave Bird on this thing because it means that I can switch in on Conkeldurr, and if he knocks off, that's annoying. If he Drain Punches, like me baiting in with Kira and Black, fantastic, because Brave Bird basically just one-shots, because of 80 attack, it's doing a hell of a lot. The reason why I'm carrying Super Fang is super important. It basically can break down all of his Pokemon and force them into situations where they might need to like roost or rest, and that can give me some big switch initiative. I really wish I could have added a fifth move in U-turn, pardon me, but unfortunately, full move slot syndrome, and I felt that Defog was more important since I'm deciding to bring not only Golbat but Kira and Black this week. Roost is obviously important, as it gives my Golbat a lot more longevity, and the fact that I have really solid defense is going to be important. Obviously, knockoff is a big issue for my team this week, but it's only a big issue until Clefable does its Babiri gimmick. And also, if Scizor is taken out earlier on... Oh god, that was... I got a message on my phone. I have been getting messages for like 3 hours. I've been wondering what people are doing, and I decided, yeah, I'll just record, it's fine. They just scared the bejesus out of me. But I feel that, you know, knockoff isn't going to be too big of a deal for me. Conkeldurr is basically his only Pokemon that can run it. I guess Scizor can too, but honestly, Lantern can switch it on both if need be. So I feel like I can deal with it pretty solidly. I'm just going to quickly turn this up and flip it over so it is out of sight and out of mind. Golbat's main job is going to be checking Gliscor, Conkeldurr, and as well that really pesky Druddigon. Now that he has Druddigon, it was initially, this Golbat was designed to check the Durant, because obviously I can just roost up, I guess, most of Durant's attacks, and they're not really doing over half to me, and because of Hustle they have the chance to miss, and I could just Super Fang plus Brave Bird, down goes Durant. Stands to reason. So I feel that Lilith is going to have to put in a lot of work this week to deal with a lot of his threats, but the basic premise that I had in my team is that I can kind of steamroll through it with my offensive choices. So really what my Golbat and my Lantern are doing is just taking a hit and then getting the hell out of there. That's why I really want a U-turn, is because I can take the hit from Conkeldurr, and then as he switches out I can go for U-turn and grab a ton of momentum to get into one of my last 3 Pokemon. But unfortunately, I feel that Defog is a lot more important in this battle, because Kira and Black has the ability to switch in at certain times, and then my opponent has no switch in. But if Rocks are up, then Kira is very limited to the times that it can come in, and gets herself into Mark Punch and Bullet Punch range, so I really don't want to take those risks. Pairing up with Golbat this week is Lantern. I love the core of... okay. Yeah, close it. Cool. Yeah, Skype's been funny with me lately, but I really like the core of Lantern and Golbat together. I feel that this Lantern set is going to be the best. It's one recommended by Smogon, but I've used it in the past when it comes to NU laddering, and I really do enjoy this set. You don't really need to invest too much in your HP. Just getting over 400 basically means you're going to be eating up a ton of hits. Also means that Blissy's Seismic Toss is a 5-hit KO compared to a 4-hit KO, which can be important if you want to run sub, but I'm not running sub. I'm running a really cool set that I really favourite, Lantern set. People say Rest Talk Lantern is better. I honestly think this one is the better one, especially for my matchup this week. So we're running Scald, Volt Switch, Hubel, Toxic. Now first and foremost, this Lantern is my primary check to that Mega Ampharos. I don't really want to have to deal with any shenanigans in Mega Ampharos. I know I can blow it away with Clefable and Kyurem and Crocodile, but if he gets it on my Golbat, then I'm in a bit of a pickle. And also if he gets it on Clefable because I haven't got a card bind up, that can also be an issue. So I really needed to play those situations safe, and so my best bet was Lantern, being able to absorb all the electric attacks and taking barely anything from Dragon Pulse. It is a fantastic check. I carried the Toxic because he does have the Heal Bella in Blissey, but he only has 8 of them. So the way that I see it, I can use Lantern as a great pivot from now and then to do that. And the other thing is, as Blissey comes in on Lantern and I go for the Toxic, it can open the door for me to go to a Volt switch, and that way I can get Lantern out of there and go into one of my other mons as he chooses to go to Heal Bell, and it just shifts the momentum completely again. I feel that although Sam's team, people think it's a little bit lackluster, I think it has some serious threats, and so being able to catch a lot of momentum against them is going to be really important for me this week. And so that's why Volt Switch is going to be super important. Heal Bell is on there because obviously his Blissey can affect me with status, and I don't really want to have to deal with that. And it's also, you know, for Toxics from Gliscor and other, you know, crazy shenanigans like that. So being able to get rid of those with Lantern is very important. And like I said, it forms a fantastic core with Golbat type-wise, and I'm really hoping that these guys can put in work together this week. I feel that they match up really well against all of his offensive threats, because the other thing I realized is that Sam has a lot of really strong physical attackers, but he only really has 2 special attackers, in Sigilyph and in Mega Ampharos. So kind of the job of Lantern is to be able to, I guess, handle Sigilyph as best as you can handle Sigilyph, to be honest. I won't really be handling Sigilyph, I've got other plans for Sigilyph, but Lantern's main job, honestly, is just to be able to take on Mega Ampharos, because it is his main special attacker, and I want to be able to handle that thing, because that thing can be scary if I don't have a good check for it. Anyway, we get into the offensive side of things now, and this is where things get fun and creative and awesome. Boom! This Kyurem set might look a little bit wacky, honestly, but there is method to the madness, people, I assure you. So I realized I didn't really need that much special attack on Kyurem for the Ice Beam. The Ice Beam's main job was to do crispy damage to Gliscor and basically take it out, and also if I needed to hit up Sigilyph if I found it was a defensive set with the Carmine, or if I found that it was physically offensive with stored power, cosmic power, Ice Beam would actually hit harder than Fusion Bolt in that situation because Stab and a special attack. So the reason why I've gone with this Kyurem set, first and foremost, this thing blows his team away. First and foremost, he has 1 switch-in to an Outrage in his entire team, his Sizzle. So the moment Sizzle is gone, I can just click Outrage with Kyurem and just destroy his team. I'm running 148 speed because I looked at his team, and basically the fastest thing that he has is his Cloyster, which hits 262 with a Jolly Nature. So that allows Kyurem to outspeed that and put away. There are a couple other mons that he can run speed on, and they probably will outspeed, but they're generally not mons that you want to run speed on. And so Kyurem can really exploit this and has the ability just to blow apart his team. I do, like I said, have to be super careful of Outrage though, because he does have Sizzle. And obviously Sizzle can eat up 1, and then I don't really want to stay in and take a huge hit. So I've got to play smart with Kyurem if I want to win with Kyurem. But this thing, like I said, if Sizzle is weakened or goes down, Outrage is a monster. Fully defensive Mega Ampharos, like Fabio, the fabled one. Takes like a minimum of 80% from this Outrage, meaning it is not a switch-in by any shape or form. If I get any prior damage on that Ampharos and bring it down at least 20%, then Kyurem will always kill it. There's no way it's not going to die. And I really wanted Fusion Bolt as well because it let me do good damage to Blissey without locking myself into the into Outrage. Because, as I said, if I can catch Sizzle with the Fusion Bolt, that's really good damage for me early on, and it can potentially break the game for him. So I chucked on Roost as well as a last kind of ditch because I realized that Earth Power wasn't really going to do it for me. Kyurem does not get Superpower. There was no point running Iron Head because there were no fairies, and as much as I wanted to chuck Dragon Claw on there so I wasn't locked into Outrage, I felt there was no reason to in this kind of battle. Outrage is going to basically do the job very smartly for me. There are only 2 things that worry me about this Kyurem. The 2 things are Sizzle and Hitmonlee. Both things can effectively blow Kyurem back. So if they are both around, I have to deal with them. Fortunately, I have a really solid team to be able to deal with both of those threats, but they are the 2 things that can deter Kyurem from wanting to lock itself in Outrage, because Kyurem obviously can go Outrage, kill something, but then it can go and Hitmonlee, it can automatically possibly do faster, high jump kick, goodbye Kyurem, because you're staying in and locked in, or he just goes for the fake out, knowing that it will Life Orb, Unburden boosts him up, he's definitely going to outspeed us, and then we got a pick a Pokemon to come in on a high jump kick, which is not always the easiest task. Even having Golbat and Clefable, if Clefable's pre-weakened, high jump kick, probably 2 of them kills us, and Golbat doesn't appreciate taking a high jump kick plus a Stone Edge, so we have to play really smart around that. But I think Kyurem has the ability to just tear apart his team, and I'm really interested to see how it can do that. Next up, oh sorry, there were other things. Basically, I decided, like I said, to run the 8 special attack because it didn't really need that much. And the 100 HP, I don't know why I put 100. I think I'm just going to quickly change this to 96. And chuck 4 in there, give that 12. Just because then I have an odd numbered HP stat, which means that rocks won't be as deterrent to me. And it also means that Ice Beam is going to do that a little bit more to his threats if I need them to. Anyway, moving on to Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah has a really cool set this week. The basic premise behind Jeremiah was that, you know, I could come in on Blissey and I could effectively just win on that turn. Now, this would have been the case if Druddigon had not been picked up. Now, I don't know how well Sam has used Druddigon in the past, but you can use it like a Garchomp where you can run the Rough Skin Rocky Helmet. And if that's the case, then this Jirachi set isn't looking as strong as it could have. That being said, though, I still think this Jirachi set is very, very solid. I decided to run the 16 in speed. I don't know if it actually outspeeds anything, it's just I didn't know where else to put it. There's no point putting it in defense or for def, because honestly, Jirachi's just there to take hits from Blissey, and Blissey's not breaking myself, and there's no point putting it in special attack. And I felt there was no point just leaving the rest of it in HP, because I only need enough HP to make the sub, and make sure that Blissey can't break it. That was the basic premise, and so I just chucked it in speed. You never know, it might be useful. The basic idea is that you go in on Blissey. The basic plan, like I said, is that Lantern goes for Toxic on Blissey, Blissey becomes poisoned. We go for the Volt Switch out to Jirachi, as it goes for either a Toxic of its own, or it goes for the Heal Bell, or the Wish, or whatever. We get up a free substitute that he can't break, and then we can effectively just spam Iron Head on basically anything that doesn't resist it. Everything that resists it dies to Fire Punch, so that's awesome. I think, pretty sure everything, yeah. And Ice Punch is there to take out Gliscor. It's also there now to take down Druddigon, but I am really worried about Druddigon, so Jirachi can be another Pokemon that can effectively sweep my opponent's team. The only issue again is that Druddigon, now that it is in his team, if he brings it, I have to play a lot smarter around it and break it down. Fortunately, I have a Clefable, I have a Golbat, I have ways to weaken it. And that's the big thing about Golbat as well with Super Fang. Although he'll take all that recoil damage, he doesn't really have a reliable way of recovery. His only reliable way of recovery is with the leftovers, so if I can weaken him down to like 40%, then Adamant Jirachi's Ice Punch will do the trick. So that's the important thing to remember, guys. Coming into our final member, I really wanted to bring Crocodile this week. It was a 50-50. It was looking at either Crocodile or Mega Houndoom. And the reason why I went Crocodile over Mega Houndoom was that I realized he had Blissey, he had Kinkelda, he had a lot of things that could come in and deter from Mega Houndoom doing its job. And so I felt like Krook was a lot better because honestly, Life Orb Krook has the ability to shatter his team. Again, I'm running Adamant, so all 3 of my last Pokemon are all running attack boosting natures, and the basic reason for that is that he doesn't really have any strong dedicated walls. He's basically relying on Blissey plus Mega Ampharos, and Crocodile has the ability to shut down both of them. Like Life Orb, Adamant, EQ probably not only destroys Mega Ampharos, but also destroys Blissey. And so this thing is basically the Wall Breaker Supreme. He comes in, he can click Knock Off, Aqua Tail. I was initially running Pursuit, but I realized I was better off running the Aqua Tail there because with prior damage on Gliscor from him just going for subs and stuff and then getting phased out or whatever, Knockoff plus Aqua Tail kills if he is initially at like 90 or 85%. So if I can get a little bit of damage off on Gliscor beforehand, that's going to mean that my Crocodile can effectively come in and be able to go for the knockoff to get rid of the Toxic Orb if I need to, or just fire off an Aqua Tail, which does about 50% to him with the Adamant nature, and that means that over time he'd have to spam Roost in order to stop us, and you know, we can just keep on wearing him down if we need to. But obviously we have other ways of doing with Gliscor. If he locks himself into Roost, we can just pull this free switch as Kyurem Black and just blow him away. It's not a big deal. The reason why I chose the Life Orb over Banded was because mainly not only the Gliscor matchup, but matchups against other Pokemon like Sigilyph, where we go for the EQ, he thinks he's being smart, predicting that, and like, ha, now I'm going to set it for free, and we fire off that max attack Adamant knockoff and blow that Sigilyph out of the water. The other thing, fun fact, is that Magic Guard Sigilyph with Focus Sash is not going to be living Kyurem simply because of Terra Volt. So just watch out for that if that happens, Sam. You'll be like, why did it die? Also, the really cool thing about Crocodile, I speed crept it again to outspeed max speed Jolly Cloyster. Main reason for that is because I know there's a Hitmon lead, but I can't really speed creep on freaking Unburdened Mons, so I decided to speed creep on his second fastest Mon to allow Crocodile to still be able to kill things, get Moxie Boost, and effectively, possibly, sweep. I found that Scarf wouldn't be as reliable, same with Band, because I don't want to lock myself into one move and then just lose to his flying types or, you know, Scizor or whatnot. So this thing can just break through his entire team. I chucked a bit into HP just so, you know, I could handle some hits a bit better. But generally speaking, Crocodile is going to be one of the big things, because like Jirachi can effectively set up behind a sub and win, Kyurem can lock itself in Outrage and win, Clefable can set up and win, but the thing that Crocodile does is it weakens all of my opponent's major walls to allow these guys to win. Crocodile's gonna like carry the team when it comes to like smashing through certain walls. Without Crocodile, it's gonna be a really tough challenge. The other thing is his main switch in to Crook is probably gonna be his Druddigon, and if I can weaken his Druddigon, then that means that Pokemon such as Jirachi and Golbat are going to feel a lot safer about themselves. Because frankly, the moment the Druddigon goes down, I think Jirachi just wins. I'm going to be honest, because Jirachi doesn't even need that much speed to outspeed a lot of things. Like honestly, the other thing I can do, I am considering actually doing it now, is me to take a little bit out of attack on Rachi, just so I can pack enough speed again to outspeed that Cloyster. The reason for that is because then he can try and Shell Smash, but I can just go for the Iron Heads. So I believe what I need to be running is 160. That math looks good. I'm still running a very good amount of attack to be able to hit a lot of his big walls, but that amount of speed allows Jirachi to now outspeed Cloyster and effectively sweep my opponent's entire team. Because there's no point letting Cloyster outspeed me and then fire off. Well, obviously he can use what's it called? Razor Shell. And, I mean, Iron Head has a chance to kill, but honestly, my safer play is just running enough speed to stop him. Because effectively, Cloyster can't set up a Shell Smash on Kyurem, it can't set one up on Jirachi, it can't set one up on Krook, it can't set one up on Lantern, it can maybe on Lilith, but at that stage, I can freely just go for a Super Fang or a Brave Bird if I want to. And against my Clefable, again, he could do it, but all I need is prior damage, and then I can deal with it whatever way I see fit. The main thing is that bulky Lantern definitely deals with Cloyster, so I'm not too worried about Cloyster trying to set up on, say, my Golbat or my Clefable. It's not really a big deal to me. I have ways to deal with it. But basically, guys, that is the team. My game plan going into this match, when it comes to my lead, I think I'm going to lead with Jirachi. That's a lie. I think I'm actually going to lead with Clefable. And the reason why I want to lead Clefable is because I have, like I said, a really good matchup against his entire team. And if he leads with Scizor, I have the chance to use my Papiri Berry. And honestly, all I really have to do is fire off the Flamethrower. I don't even need to boost. All I need to do is fire off that Flamethrower. Because if he's not specially defensive, it's roasted, it's dead, it's gone. If he is, I'm doing enough damage to where Scizor is now no longer a switch into Kyurem Black's Outrage, which is phenomenal. But if I was going to have to predict his lineup for round 1, I'd say he's probably bringing Scizor, Conkeldurr. He has to bring Conkeldurr. Because Conkeldurr technically can be an issue, but it won't be. I feel like he will be bringing Blissey. Might even bring like Counter Blissey. The people I want to message me aren't messaging me. I think he's gonna have to bring Mega Ampharos. I think he might bring Druddigon. I think he actually won't bring Druddigon, which is silly because if he doesn't, then Jirachi wins. But the fact is, the reason I don't think he's gonna bring Druddigon is because defensive Mega Ampharos does more technically against my team. And the big thing I'm trying to think about with his team is, what is he gonna bring for my Kyurem? And that's why I think he's gonna bring defensive Scizor. And if he brings defensive Scizor with just HP, but without the Spadef, I think Clefable can just blow it back anyway. So I'm interested to see what he brings. Obviously, like, it's really hard to predict exactly what he's going to bring, but I feel like this team has the ability to tear him apart. I have some really strong physical attackers to blow through him. I have some cheeky plans, as you can see, some really cheeky sets that I think will do the job. I will let you guys know how it goes. I don't really like doing the live recaps because I talk and I ramble, and sometimes it makes me overthink. I think I'm just better off just being in my natural state, but lots of replays are going to be coming up soon, so look forward to that. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome, actually no, not just an awesome, I hope you have a nice day. It is Mudkips 29, signing out.